Hello and welcome to BMR Radio. Tonight we have a special episode here. We're going to talk about Fallout Episode 1. We're super pumped. With me, I've got the crew here. How's it going, Baked Banana? And what is your favorite Fallout game?
Hey, love. I mean, let's be real. Fallout New Vegas is great. It's, to me, solid because you didn't need to have, I'm not saying settlement building to make a game good, but they made a game good without it. And that game is just the best.
The best. You heard him. Baked Banana's favorite game is
Bet you.
Fallout New Vegas. So let's ask one of the biggest Fallout fans I know. I think even bigger than Baked Banana. I don't think that's even possible. But Snickerer, how you doing? And what is your favorite
What?
Fallout game?
That's a lot.
I would say Fallout 76 probably because I got to
Okay,
taste all your tears
You were
of
gonna say
bitterness
something that
and
was
sad.
funnier. Fallout Shelter was okay, but this is slander and garbage. We're moving
All right,
on.
no, hold on. If I'm being serious, I will say Fallout 3 was the first Fallout game I attempted to play, and I had a good time. I liked beating up Butch, and I think that was the biker guy's name, and it had a nice green tint to it. So
It's
I'll say
very
Fallout 3.
it's very green. All right, and then actually a Fallout fan to rival the Baked Bananas fandom. Dab Ninja, how you doing? And what is your favorite Fallout game?
How's it going, dude?
How's it going?
Um, it's pretty good. My favorite Fallout game, ultimately. Oh crap. I might have to do something. Give me a second. Only time can actually give me the answer to this one, so I'm going to look at the time that I've put into my games and see which one I play more.
Well,
Personally,
New Vegas don't tell you, so
It doesn't?
no.
I'm
Oh
pretty sure
my
it does. Yes.
They don't. Because they don't have a stats option.
He's looking
Ooh,
at his
he's
stats right now.
right. No, he
Is that
is right. There is no stats option.
does that track all the
Um,
way back to your 360 days or?
No, 360 games just don't have an option to track your stats.
Dang it.
Only on Steam.
Yeah, and I don't play this on Steam. So I'm going to say Fallout New Vegas is ultimately my favorite, but I've only put more time into Fallout 4 because of the settlement building. But ultimately, something about just being like, I don't know, some dude who got shot in the face and is just taking fistfuls of
Courier from
M's at a
hell.
time is just amazing. Because
Oh
you
yeah.
can just throw your moral compass right out the window and do whatever comes to mind. It's like, well, realistically, this is just some guy who got shot in the head over a package. So, like,
I think
Just
it's
your
definitely
typical
got the most
mailman.
open-ended story.
Yes,
You
I
can
think it has a
you can do what
great
you want.
intro, which is why, for me, BMR, my favorite Fallout game is Fallout New Vegas. I think I'm the same as Brad. I think I've put more hours into Fallout 4, but I think that's only because of the settlement building, uh, which ironically, I hate 76, which was built around the settlement building. So I don't know. I think Fallout New Vegas is just the best. I think it's the best RPG. It's the best game out of all of them. You just kind of drop in and then you get to go. And wacky world, brutal world, very funny. Which is why when they decided to have this show, and it's going to be West Coast, it was perfect, right? Like we are in the new, I guess not Vegas area, but we're close, right? We're in the desert. We have the same vibes. We're in California, but yeah.
33 is
So,
next to Fallout 34, and that's in New Vegas.
exactly. So
So,
we've got episode 1 titled The End. They dropped all the episodes at once, but we're just gonna do one episode at a time. We're gonna kind of do an episode breakdown, so there will be spoilers in this episode review. To be clear, we're gonna talk
Spoilers.
very in depth about it, and avoiding spoilers would be too hard. So we're just gonna have fun with it, and we're gonna talk about all the stuff we see, all the game references, all the different outfits, the set pieces, the like everything about it. We're gonna try and talk about it because we love Fallout here. Just ask Nick, favorite gaming franchise.
Mhm.
Okay, so episode 1 starts with the end. What'd you guys think about that? Because honestly, that right out the gate got me. I liked the cheekiness. I liked that they were just kind of like the end because the bombs are dropping, right? So what'd you guys think about it?
Like the title, or
Like it just came in. That's I mean, so like the show starts and it goes bam, and it just says the end on the screen
It's
right
telling you
when you
what's
start.
coming.
Exactly.
It's
Right.
not pulling any punches.
So what'd you think about that first little like pop?
I mean, I
I
think
didn't
it was
mind
a
it.
good way. Oh, go ahead, banana.
I didn't mind it. I felt it worked. It left you. It's like the end. It's like, what do you mean? It's like
We just
kind
started.
of exactly. It's like it just kind of kept you wondering.
I feel like as a Fallout fan, we knew what they meant, right? Like,
I think it was a
not
good
to
way to
not be a
pull in
good time.
people who weren't who weren't familiar with Fallout. Maybe they're trying to get a new audience, and they're like, okay, this is going to be a bad thing that's going to happen.
So like a hook,
Just a
right?
warning. Yeah.
So I guess this whole next scene part is technically the hook, right? So it hits with the end, and then we come in, and it's basically like a cowboy, and he's like lassoing at a party,
Hold on, I
right?
wasn't done.
Oh, he's got more on the end.
So well, if you think about it too, New Fallout isn't famous for really having very much in the beginning. Like it literally, and like usually all Fallouts, especially in Fallout 4, that's what we literally start with is the end.
Yep, the bombs
So it's
drop
like,
usually, right? They do
yeah,
the
they tell
scenes.
like a little background, but it's like it's about to me the same amount of background that Fallout 4 had.
Like basically told you about the war. Yeah, honestly, it kind of mimics Fallout 4 and the fact that you get a little bit of a glimpse right before the bombs drop, right? Like so I guess Todd was kind of copying that in a way. But yeah, I think it's a good little hook to pull in either people that know what's gonna happen or people that are kind of like curious as to what's gonna happen. So
Uh,
then it moves in, yeah.
real quick. How much input do we know if that Todd had on the show?
You know, they talked about him being heavily involved with it. So
Probably.
the answer is I have no idea, but I'm assuming he had a lot to be involved with. And I'm hoping, here's what I'm thinking. I'm hoping that this guy, this Todd Howard man, was working on this while they were finishing up Starfield. Because that would explain, that would give him an out basically as to why Starfield was mid. And hopefully he'll be able to bring his energy that he brought to this series into Elder Scrolls 6, and then we can all die happy. That's all we're hoping for.
It's going to be about 5 years before my death. So
Yeah, we're gonna die soon. So, and then we're gonna be in the Fallout universe. Jokes on you. Fallout 5 is just real life. But okay, let's keep going on the episode breakdown. I have no idea how. Somebody look it up while we're doing this. Somebody look up how involved Todd is. But yeah, so we start with a cowboy lassoing at a party. He's like performing at the party. Walton Goggins is the actor. And he has been in a ton of stuff. He starts being in, he's like a good like Southern cowboy guy. He's been doing a lot with Quentin Tarantino. He was in The Hateful
Oh
Eight.
God, does he like feet?
What?
Not as much as Tarantino. You know what I mean? But like he's in Tarantino movies. I guess he's in Justified, that TV series, but he's pretty great. I like Walter Goggins and all the stuff I've seen him in so far, and I think this role is gonna push him to the top. But he's at the party. They're doing the lasso. The radio's dropping hints and stuff. And the lady's like walking around turning off all the radios and being like, we're at a party. Let's not worry about politics. And like they're kind of classist, for lack of a better word. Like the rich guys are kind of like making fun of Walter Goggins for his lassoing.
Yeah.
And you realize that Walter brought his like daughter there too. And
Stop
she's
right
like
here,
the
Dab
kid.
Ninja.
What's up?
Like that background, like you can obviously tell like the city's like come a long way. Like that's like you guys can't see what I'm talking about, but like the city is very well detailed in the background too. Like it reminds me of like the city in Fallout 76. That's just all ran by robots.
Oh, down at the bottom right.
Latoga.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me
Yeah.
of that with all of its tall skyscrapers in the background. So
Yeah,
like the cities look
I
cool.
think it's supposed to be LA.
It is supposed to
Um,
be.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
It
sure it's just
is.
LA. So
It's
like
Which brought me
LA,
to ask one question continuously, even at the beginning of this episode, because I know, since we know for a fact that this is Los Angeles,
uh-huh.
New California Republic.
I
Are we gonna
know.
see some Rangers? Are we gonna see troopers? Because my question was, are we gonna see NCR, or is that just gonna be a remnant of the past, or like they somehow just kill off the NCR? Because for me, being such a huge New Vegas fan, that's something I'm wanting to see.
I
I think
agree.
depends on the timeline, right?
Well, that's the thing is I heard that the NCR doesn't show up in the series. That's what I heard, which would be kind of
I
disappointing.
see, and I've had to stay off social media because
Oh, there's stuff
people are
everywhere.
getting very heavily into it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I will say, since like the missus and I have, seen a couple episodes ahead, I'm not gonna get into that. We're formulating our own ideas, but I am still convinced that we are going to see NCR somewhere, somehow.
I'm hopeful. I'm with you. I'd rather be an optimist. And if
Exactly.
they
Like,
show up, that'd be fantastic. Or if they can explain it. Like that's what I'm saying. Just explain if the NCR are gone, why? Is it before? Is it after? What's going on? Right? But yeah, so they're at the party. You can see in the backdrop, right? They're up on a hill. And you can see the city. And they're all partying, and then all the kids go inside and they flip on the TV and they're like eating cake and having a good time. And Walter, the cowboy, Walter Goggins, is like hanging out with his daughter, cleaning up his stuff, and they do the thumbs up thing, and he says that was like he got that from the army, and he says that he does the thing where it's like basically if a nuke hits and it's bigger than your thumb, don't bother running. If it's smaller, you're okay, but if it's bigger than your thumb, you're done. And that's kind of what he talks about, which is the Vault Boy, right? Like it's the Vault Boy's thumb, right? So they got like the Vault Tech kind of
Well,
influence
if you kind of
here.
look at him,
I actually didn't know that.
if you kind of
Vault
even
Boy
look at him
thing.
now, he's wearing a lot of like blue and yellow.
Exactly, right? His outfit is like very Vault Tech in
But
a
it's
way.
also kind of like very Western Vault Tech.
Western Vault Tech, right? It's pretty cool. Um, and so he's talking to his daughter about that. And then like he turns around and he's looking
Goes
at the
inside.
party.
He goes inside and gets her some cake.
Yeah, he's like, I'll go get you some cake. So he goes inside to get her cake. And then all of a sudden there's this bright flash of light. And the little girl turns around. And you can't see what she's looking at. I think they did this really well. You can't
Yeah.
see what she's looking at, but you can see behind her in the reflection of like the glass, there's the nuke. And it's hit. And she puts up her thumb.
good
That's like
timing. Good
Right?
timing on that, my dude, because right as you said that in the background, she did that.
Yeah, so she puts up her thumb and she's like, "Yo, Dad, is it my thumb or yours?" And
yeah,
he's
and to
just
me
like,
that was like
"Oh shit!"
to me this is when I was like now I was like, oh yeah, now
You
I'm
were
really
in,
invested. I'm like, and now I'm like, all right, I'm like, show me more.
I
right?
just
And
want
this
to
whole
say, right
uh,
as that happened, I made a joke and I'm like, oh, little girl, you are not old enough to survive the plot armor. And then the
nope,
bomb dropped, and I'm just like, oh.
no, that's the thing is like you just realize like all these people are dead. Like, all
They're
these
gonna
people are done. Walter Goggins is the only one with plot armor. The rest of you guys are done. So like this is a great scene. It's him walking towards it.
and then he first kind of denies it.
Yeah, he
Even.
thinks it's like a fire or something at first, but then that mushroom cloud erupts from the smoke,
And it
and
just
he's
gets
like,
bigger.
"Oh crap! Oh crap!"
And you literally see the building start to just disintegrate.
Pretty
You would
sweet. The
think,
effects on this looked so good.
Yes.
Looked super
So
realistic.
good.
The scene cutting's good, making him look isolated even though they're at a party, making him like the fear on his face, and then the shockwave comes in and it hits, and all the windows break, and like he has to protect his daughter, and like it's just crazy good. And then they just start running. People realize what's happening, and they just start, we need to get out of here.
my favorite part is quite literally just a couple moments later when he goes to ride away.
Uh-huh.
You see a couple more bombs drop in much closer proximity.
Oh
And it
yeah.
goes to
Mhm.
show you how much of LA just got leveled.
Just leveled, man. While they're
'Cause,
running
like-
away, they've got all the people freaking out,
And
then
he
they've
like
got,
his friends like trying to get in the vault or in his
yeah,
shelter
it's
with
not
him,
even,
and he's
it's
like,
a cellar. It's not gonna do anything, but like the guy won't let another dude in the cellar with him and like punches him out.
Like his good
I
friend.
really like this car here when he rides
the
past
cars
the
were
car.
really cool looking. Like they did a good job with, even though the cars were just brief, they were still cool looking.
They look futuristic. They looked
Yeah,
like
this is
relevant to like the Fallout series.
what
yeah,
I
he just
mean. Because when they drop one right there in like basically downtown, and the one
Yeah,
immediately
because that's
after it,
because the building's right over there, the
the observatory.
observatory. Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's just
no, they
like,
just wreck
oh,
everything.
that is way close to him.
And then the title screen hits with Fallout. And that's how the show starts. That's the whole beginning of the story. And damn, it's good. I was sucked in right when it did the Fallout thing. And
yeah.
like you said, Dab Ninja, that scene with like multiple nukes just hitting, it's just like, oh man, they didn't get away.
To go down.
No.
Oh damn. They didn't get away. Snicker, as a non-Fallout fan, what do you think?
It was a good intro. It set the tone pretty well, and yeah, bad times for everybody.
Bad times for everybody. Great cinematography too. I loved all the cutting and like the different angles on this, and they did a really good job. So the Fallout screen hits, and the next scene basically starts with 219 years later. So that's how long it's been since those bombs dropped. And we immediately show up, and we're in a vault, and it's the main girl. I think her name's like Ella Purnell, and she's playing Lucy, and she's in her vault outfit. And this part was really cool because she was basically like selling herself, and she was like almost like a job interview, and she's talking about like her strengths and her charisma and like her intelligence. Like she's talking about all the special skills that you have to have in a vault, which I really liked that, and how they like reference the game and everything. What'd you guys think of how it just pops in, and it even goes through a couple scenes. She does some shooting, she does some wrestling, she does some like engineering stuff.
She likes to do walks. She likes to shoot her gun.
I didn't even notice that they were going through like the special skills.
Her watching a movie with the dude.
And they got a bike peddler.
If y'all didn't notice that with the TV in the background, it's playing a movie with the cowboy dude that was shown.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes. Because if you think about it, he talks about how he, like, does the cowboy stuff or whatever, right? So you'd kind of think, since this is 219 years later, and he was doing cowboy stuff then, and then you look on the TV.
So the movies are him. That's pretty cool, actually. And it would make sense. Like they're in LA. He's kind of
Yep.
famous. Had him at a party.
He was
doing
an
raffle
army.
stuff.
He was an army soldier.
An army vet.
So
That's cool. So like Vault-Tec would use that too, because he's like a cowboy, right? He's like pro
Yeah.
America. They would totally do that, especially in the vault that they're in, which is Vault 32.
33.
No, Vault 33. Yeah, 32 is the other one. But yeah, so like cool special references and stuff. Kind of reminded you of the games and like the skills that they try and go for. It was a cool way to incorporate it, I think. Go ahead.
I will say I am happy they got my boy Rico from Hannah Montana in here.
Oh my gosh. Which one's Rico?
Norm, the little brother. Yes, him.
Yes. Dude, I was wondering where I've seen him.
I really
Hannah
like.
Montana.
Where's that guy been in?
I really liked the attention to detail because he was playing like a lot of the Pit Boy games on his wrist.
Like that's what I was gonna ask about next. Is like, what do you guys think of the costume here? Because like all we've seen is like the jumpsuits, and then the Pit Boy. I kind of want a jumpsuit.
I was gonna say the same thing. I'm like, I want a jumpsuit.
I mean, that's all they wear. It better be comfortable.
Right, it's got to be pretty comfortable. I mean, it looks comfortable.
I mean, the power armor looks comfortable, even though it's metal.
I'd take some power armor.
Oh, I found a video of the lady who plays Lucy doing a interview with Jimmy Fallon, and it's a video of the stunt double who wears the power armor, like flossing in it, like doing the dance.
He's
And
flossing
I'm
in the
like,
power.
oh, I kind of thought that stuff was CGI'd in. No,
Uh,
no, they straight up built
They
the
made it.
power armor
well, they
for
had
the
to because
series.
it was the only way. Honestly, like if you're gonna have it, you're gonna have to have a few sets of power armor.
Yeah.
That's the only way to make it look authentic and cool. So we've got the 219, we got the skills, the outfits look great. There's a bunch of club activities, which seems like a total vault thing to do, right? To have all these activities. The music was on point. They kept picking bangers, which we can't play any of them because they'll immediately get claimed. But like, the soundtrack was perfect, total Fallout vibes. But then yeah, like Banana was saying, basically Lucy was applying to trade with Vault 32. Well, we come to find out what the trade is that she's going to marry someone from Vault 32 and she's Vault 33.
Which makes sense because after a while being in a vault, you'd probably be related to a lot of the people in the vault.
It's a little incestuous, and so they want to like not make it that way. So like this is kind of the idea is like, hey, we go exchange people with another vault. We kind of keep the bloodlines not so incestuous and works out for everybody. Nobody's just growing weird toes or having any
Because let's be real, you either have to have a lot of people in a vault, like over like I'd say at least over 20,000 people. Because after a while, you're gonna start running an issue where it's like people are related somewhere.
In fact, I think they have the scene where they're finally walking up to trade, and like her cousin's running the door opening
Yes.
thing, and he like won't open it because he's in love with her.
And she's like, "You're also my cousin." It's like, what?
Yeah, she's like, listen, kissing cousins is one thing, but like we can't make babies.
It's like it's not a great way to like continue the population on.
Yeah. Uh, but
But
and
it's
then her
funny.
so another point, the Pit Boy, right? When they did the application, when she does the application, they don't say anything. Like the board of directors doesn't say anything. They actually all vote on their Pit Boys, which I thought was cool. And then she sees the results on her Pit Boy. And I liked that they're pulling in the Pit Boy like usefulness, like using it and being like, this is a huge part because it's a huge part of the game, right?
I
It's your
will
menu.
say I do love the little sound effects that they use because a lot of those sound effects are basically straight from Fallout 4 itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah, they
every
do.
noise that Pip-Boy makes, you can find it in Fallout 4 one way or another, depending on like what you do, what perks you have, blah blah blah. Which I absolutely went bonkers for because I thought it was just gonna be kind of like quiet and you're just gonna hear the click and turn of the knobs and the switch or whatever. So for them to have audio is really nice, like I don't know how to put it, refreshing touch. Because when you play the game, you don't really think your Pip-Boy's making a bunch of noise except for the radio or like when you turn the light on.
That's because time freezes when you use your Pit Boy,
I
right?
know.
So you're just clicking through everything, and I think the Pit Boys don't look too bulky too. I think they did a good job with like the sizing of them because that was kind of I don't know, Banana. Don't you have a Pit Boy?
I do actually.
How does it feel on your wrist? Does it feel too big?
So I have the what version is this? This is
I think
the
you got the 76 version, right?
Yes, it is
this
the
is
76 version, but I want to say it's like the 2000 Mark A.
it's the 2000 Mark 6.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's
How does
after
it feel?
VI. It's not bad. I'd say it could be possibly a like. I think it's not bad. It more like requires just getting used to wearing.
Mm-hmm.
Like
So like the weight of it, it's like a big wristwatch.
yeah, because like the only thing I noticed is like wearing it. Like if you're trying to like put your arms up, like you're gonna say box, it feels like a little in the way over here because it's like this model like the holotape is like down below, so like your arm kind of like bumps into like where the holotape sits, and so it's like kind of a little bit uncomfortable.
Well, the good thing is that with the show coming out, I'm betting you they're probably going to make a bunch more merch and a bunch more Pit Boys are going to start selling. Because, like, why would you not do that?
I want to get my hands on the other models because
I want the
that'd be cool.
jumpsuit. Honestly, I would like a jumpsuit. Because then I could just be a vault dweller for every single Halloween.
That'd just be my pajamas.
Scary. Your pajamas.
My
I would just
pajamas.
live in it.
Yeah, it'd just be everything I wear.
I couldn't leave my basement because I need to stay in the vault, you know? You can't leave the vault. Dangerous stuff happens out there. But okay, let's keep pushing on the episode. Um the location they're in, they're inside the vault. It looks very much like the inside of a vault. Like they do a great job of taking the same architecture, the same colors, the same door buttons, the same like everything from the game. It looks like they've just pulled into this vault, right?
Mhm.
Um and like everybody looks authentic. They have this vault specifically has like a cornfield, and then it's got like a projector.
Actually, that's one thing I was going to definitely talk about. I really like the addition of like the projector where it can like change what the background is for the
Right.
vault. So like at least looking at things wouldn't be so much boring as much.
You'd be like, I want to go to the beach today, and switch like the projector's playing thing instead of where it is, like to something else. But they said this one was kind of like focused on like a
Farming and
cornfield.
agricultural.
Yeah, like it was supposed to be like a farm culture, kind of like people are good because being good is like the
There's a
thing
lot of
to
like
do.
value.
Yeah. Yeah. So like Vault 33 has this kind of vibe, right? And then it turns out Lucy's dad is the overseer of Vault 33. So that's pretty cool too. So she's got like kind of a lot to live up to. So it seems like she's like the actress does a good job of making it seem like she's got a little weight on her shoulders and she feels like she needs to do great. Um and you're kind of with her you know what I mean? Like you're like, "Yes, let's be great. Let's see what you can do."
And
Uh
he didn't even come from Vault 33. He came from Vault 31, and he got
spoilers,
elected.
which we don't know that yet, right?
No, he said.
When does
Oh,
he say it?
when
He
she
talks
asks,
about it.
yeah, when she asks her dad if he was nervous before his wedding, and he goes, "Well, I'd never even left Vault 31. I was really nervous."
Oh, so he came from Vault 31
Mhm.
into
Yep,
this vault
yep,
to
yep.
marry someone.
I literally just had to rewind. Were you scared? Oh, hold on, it's being glitchy. When you married mom, terrified, they giggle. Well,
Yeah,
I'd
right
never
there.
set foot outside of Vault 31.
Yeah, so he's from Vault 31 then, which would make sense. So it looks like 31, 32,
32
and
and 33 are all
33.
connected, yes.
Yeah, at least out of the ones we've heard so far, there could be
Mhm.
more. Like the network could be wider than we think. But it sounds like those three vaults are close enough to be able to trade with each other without going above ground, which is
Which
kind of
means
interesting.
we're probably connected via tunnel.
Yes.
Yes, which
Or
is
they are literally quite literally built side by side, so it's as simple as just going through a doorway.
yeah. Well, I mean, they have the tunnel, right? Like that's kind of what they do is they walk down that tunnel. But that's the plan is they're getting married. This was a cool note that we noticed. On the wedding dress, they were recording actually their name. So like every woman that got married in that wedding dress since the bombs fell was like would write their name on that, which I don't know. I just thought that was kind of cool. Too risky actually pointed it out to me. Uh, but yeah, so like we talked about the projector. You guys gotta notice like the filter overall is kind of like bright and saturated. Like everything looks very bright and saturated. Like the colors and kind of like the overall like tone of the film. You notice?
I think it's helps with the underground lighting. Was it just in the vault you noticed that, or was it
Yep.
when
No, it kind of felt
later?
like it was that Fallout vibe across the entire thing. Like Fallout's kind of filter almost. Like
Uh,
gritty, but
I would say I definitely noticed it more in the vault then, but yeah, I do agree that it has like that kind of.
maybe the vault because there's more stark colors, right? Like mostly everything's gray, and then they've got this like they're wearing blue, and it's like bam,
Mhm. Everything up is like brown.
yeah. But yeah, okay. So they're going to get married. They go down the hall to the other vault, and they're basically like about to open the door, and that's when she like tells her cousin that they can't be together, which is funny. Um, and then she's like, I have no idea who she's gonna marry because like that's the whole concept. You don't know. And I like that her cousin's name was Chet, by the way. Like it's just like perfect. Cousin
Do
Chet.
you think maybe he leaves and goes establishes a store in a tiny little town called Good Springs?
Do you think so? Do you think he's
Maybe.
gonna do it?
He kind of looks the part.
Dude, if they pull in New Vegas, that'd be fantastic. But
They
okay,
can't do
so
that.
they go to Vault 33 and they're like, that was the other thing that they were like talking, and they were like, I'm gonna make an announcement basically. Like radiation levels have been dropping, and we think that the next generation of children will be able to colonize. So like basically radiation's fallen down enough that like Lucy's kid with whoever she's marrying in Vault 33, they'll be able to make kids, and those kids will be able to go above ground and live perfectly fine. So then the door opens and they meet the overseer of Vault 33 and all the people with the overseer of Vault 33. And honestly, right out the gate, I was like they kind of did it on purpose to make you feel suspicious of them, but I don't know, how'd you guys feel about that? Like this whole scene.
I instantly thought they were super suspicious. Like something just didn't sit right, and they're all in the dark too, so
Yeah, the light versus dark.
it made it. They're coming into the light.
Mhm.
Well, you'd think that you'd be a little bit more familiar with who your
Trading with.
regular neighbors are. Like for being in a vault and being connected to these places, you'd think there would be a little bit more like, I don't know, like there, yeah. You think, yeah, because
That's
you would have
probably
heard.
part of the Vault Tech experiment,
I
though.
was gonna say, let's not forget it is Vault Tech, so
Well, and how long ago was it that they last traded? It looks like it was recent because there's like one chick that's pregnant. You know what I mean? And
But she
like,
could have been pregnant from 31.
her, yeah, but she's
no,
married.
that's what I'm saying. She was married to somebody from another vault. So she was like, "You're lucky."
She could have been not from this vault.
Is she married to somebody or another from another vault, or like
I
did
guess
she?
they never really say, but I don't know. I kind of I thought that was the case, and it might be she was married from like another vault, like maybe 31, like maybe
Mhm.
that's where he came from too or something. But they don't really tell you, and it's kind of weird. So like you get weird vibes, but then they have the wedding, and like the overseer gives a speech, and he's pretty positive about
I've
everything.
noticed like too, just like looking at the residents of Vault 32, like they all look pretty sketchy.
Yeah, they like, and that's kind of what you notice, right? Is they look a little dirtier. They're doing things a little bit more aggressively. Like
They're
they're
eating a little
eating
bit
more
more. Yeah,
aggressively. They're just kind of like hunching a little bit more. They seem a little bit more like I don't know.
And
They're
that's what you call
suspicious.
institutionalization. It is a learned behavior from people who have spent time in like prisons and jails, stuff like that. So, to say the least, they could be, ex-cons of whatever government might be, or like
Yeah,
who
right.
knows? Because once again, it is Vault Tech. You do not know what their circumstances are there in Vault 32.
Totally,
So,
totally.
like, it is possible that, like, Vault 33 is really good, happy people. Vault 32 might be more shady folks. And
Hmm.
who knows about 31, because I don't think it's briefly mentioned for, like, a split second.
Which I bet you will find out more later. Like they've got to like. That's the interesting part, is right. Like, what are the vaults around here? What were the experiments? What are they going to run into? Like, what kind of wacky stuff are we going to start running into? But they do the speech. That's when he says they're going to be able to colonize. I even put here on my notes that Vault 32 seems sus. um, yeah. Then they're pretty positive. Easy party. Doesn't the brother seem kind of like he's like suspicious of like Vault 32 though?
yeah,
Like
he
I
can
feel like
definitely
You're
tell
the one
some.
who has a high perception skill and can, pick up on things, I guess.
right? That's actually cool to think about it that way. We should start thinking about all of it and just like the skills. Um, but yeah,
Well, I mean, if that's
he
the case, then what's everybody's luck skill at?
well, dude, some of them survived that definitely should not have survived.
Right.
So, they gotta have some high lock. But anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Um, but yeah, the music again is perfect. Um, and the brother's suspicious, so he actually like sneaks over to the other vault while nobody's looking,
Mm-hmm.
and like he sees like all the crops are dead.
But not
Um,
just only that, the vault's in like complete disarray.
yeah,
Like,
like it's the like
like
lights are
they only
burnt
talked
out.
about their farm, but like my guy, it looks more than the farm looks messed up. Your whole
So,
vault looks messed up.
mm, mm. Sorry, gamer instincts making me think something like, okay, well, if the vault is that tattered and like in shambles, are those even the original occupants?
No,
Right.
I
No,
don't.
that's
That's
exactly what he's finding out. And that's what you notice at the wedding too. Like we talked about how they looked a little bit more savage than other people, and while they're doing that, the like you can see the scars. Like some of them have more scars on them. They look like they've had a rougher life,
I thought I
which
saw a
doesn't make
tattoo
sense.
on one lady for a split
Yeah,
second.
like vault dwellers are extremely clean kept people in
They
their
don't live dangerous
vaults.
lives usually.
Yeah. So like it was kind of like you're just more and more suspicious of 32. And then Lucy is just pumped. She's out of her wedding and she takes Monty, who's the guy that she's married, like because they're married now, and they go
Is that
back to her
last name
apartment.
Python?
And yeah, from Monty Python. And they're all excited basically. And she's like, look at our apartment. We got this, we got that. And she's not really looking at him. We got this. And while she's doing that, you just hear a zipper, and then she turns around, he's just naked. And then
And
they
then
just start
things
going at it.
kind of ensue afterwards.
Yeah. So like, and she gets laid. And I guess during this part, it's like flashing back and forth, right? Because it's got to go back to the brother who's like discovering that the other vault's like all suspicious.
And they
The
find like,
timing of these scenes back and forth was kind of interesting.
well,
Like
I
the
like that it
contrasting
takes
mood.
them up until finding like the dead like guy in the wheelchair. They're like, there's definitely something wrong here.
So that's the funny part, right? Is because like as soon as you see the burned crops, I would have been
Like
like,
I would have looked in there. I'm like, dude, this whole vault looks messed up. Like, I gotta go tell someone.
Well, they
Right,
mentioned
like,
that there was like a crop problem.
Yeah, but homie, like it just doesn't like look
that
like
doesn't look like a crop problem.
that. Looks more like the vault's just whole gone problem.
Yeah, because it wasn't just the crops. Like everything looked terrible. Everything
It
was
looks like
messed
if
up.
someone were to snatch the fusion core out of the generator for their power armor.
Yeah.
Someone's just
That's
like, I need this, thank you. Because, Fallout 4, that was a problem. It's like, oh, I'm just going to yank this out of this generator, thank you.
But yeah, like so she finishes sleeping with him. The brother's wandering deeper into the vault. She's noticing that like Monty's kind of like he's like wiping his dick on the freaking like curtains and stuff and like just being like a regular savage.
Yeah, like she finds it like slightly different, but like doesn't question it too
Yeah,
much.
she's like whatever, he's just different. Which tells you like how Vault 33 is, right? They're just like
But then
pretty
you start
nice.
looking also deeper into the vault as you're following the main character, and you're like, dude, this place is just trashed.
Yes. No, the other vault that the brother's in, it's going back and forth in these scenes. That vault is just messed up. And then he finds like a dead body, and that's kind of when he finally freaks out
Oh,
and starts
what's
running
the
back.
word?
And then what was interesting about this is like it flashes back to Lucy, and she starts hearing like gunfire and like shouting, and she's kind of like,
What's
huh?
going on?
Right? Because they just had a wedding, right? Like, and she just slept with her dude, and so
And
she's
he's acting
right.
completely
They
weird.
basically have this, and he goes, and he's like getting some water or whatever, and she goes to the door, and yeah, and like she's like hearing the stuff, and then I can't remember. Does somebody get like shot against the window, or like
someone runs by?
No. I was gonna say, we're already kind of when she grabs her pit boy because she's suspicious and starts scanning him for radiation, and
which
then
is
that's
like,
when it clicks.
well, this is what's funny about it is like it's like a ton of radiation to be able to like live above the surface, and they're saying like it should be livable soon, but like obviously like this just proves that there's a bunch of raiders that can live with that much radiation.
Well, she even calls them that too. Like they've dealt with people like that
Like they've
before.
dealt with raiders before, right? It's weird. It's like there's obviously some type of relationship between the vault dwellers and above, or either she's been told some stories or something, right? But yeah, so then they attack each other, and
He goes for a big
basically,
old freaking knife.
yeah, he pulls a knife on her, and so she's like fighting him and stuff, and eventually she gets like stabbed, and then she grabs like a bottle,
No,
and she like breaks it on his
she
head.
grabs the pitcher and then she hits him with it, and then
It slices the crap out of his face.
yeah.
Okay, so I thought she like stabbed him in the neck with it too. No, she just
No,
smashed
because I
his
think
face.
later on in this episode we end up seeing him again. Because if my memory serves me, when we do see him again, I damn near threw up because they do a really good job with the gore and
The
like
effects in this thing are
yes.
fantastic. Like, they
to
did
the
a
point
great
where
job.
I kind of got a little squeamish at some parts. I was just like, oh, okay.
Blech. Blech. But yeah, so she gets stabbed, she smashes it, and I honestly, when I was watching this first time, I was like, he's dead. Like, she nailed it. Then she goes and gets a stim pack. I thought that was pretty cool because it's like using the stuff from the game, right? Pumps the stim pack,
And it like heals her.
and it heals her. And then I think it starts playing more songs. That's the thing, is throughout the whole show, they just keep pulling in songs from, the universe,
games.
and they keep the vibe very well.
I'm pretty sure every song that has been played has been at least featured in one of the games.
Yep,
Same.
definitely.
I'm pretty sure that's pretty accurate. We could
Because
probably-
it would be dumb of Bethesda to not capitalize on the fact that there is such an extensive list of music for the Fallout games.
Mhm.
And it
Why
fits
not just reuse
well.
all of them?
Exactly. But okay, so she's like following the sounds out there. She's stim packed. It's playing the music. We got good Fallout vibes. And as she's walking out, she's seeing like dead guys, like her vault people dead. A guy's like pinned up against the wall with a like machete in him. The armory's been broken into. She hears gunfire. She hears explosions, and so she's trying to like figure out what's going on. And she like finally kind of stumbles out on a battlefield where the wedding was, like where they had the reception and everything. And just people just killing each other. She picks up this is what I thought was interesting. She picked up like a dart gun.
No, she picked up the syringer, homie.
The syringer, that's what it is. I was like, what? Because yeah, so she picks up a syringer, and so she's like not even intending to like kill anybody. She's still like a good person,
Not even
right?
that. She didn't really have a weapon to use.
Like the syringer was the best she could get.
The first thing she found.
Well,
First
when
thing
she
she
walked
found.
in there was nothing else in there except for the syringer against the wall.
Okay, so that's what she takes, and then
This part was one of my favorite parts right here. She walks in, the music's playing. He's acting all sorts of goofy, which is totally Fallout. The music's playing. People are like having fights. He's just grabbing a piece of the cake and eating
The
it.
dude
And it's
eating
like
the cake while like murdering people.
I think
Totally,
one of
yeah.
my favorite scenes in this, I believe it's the duration of this fight. I think it's that guy there literally rips a jet no, it's this guy. Rips a jet inhaler. One of them. And I just thought that was great because everyone makes the reference for like Career 6 to just be high on jet.
Right,
Going
just going.
crazy. And they kind of played into some dude taking jet and just going off.
So people are panicking, but they're not really like, they didn't really get like the gravity of the situation. Like I feel like the vault dwellers are watching people die, and they're just kind of like whatever about it. And like it just seems weird, right? Like it's this only like the Fallout vibe, right? Like it's kind of goofy, but it's super morbid, super intense.
I like that he's like running through the vault and there's all sorts of like different things happening in like each room, and he's just like the guy's just avoiding it, but you see everyone else like fighting out in the room.
Yeah, did you guys notice the oh man, what was I gonna say? Basically, did you notice that the eating cake, the slow mo? That's what it was. There was a ton of slow mo in this. How did you
It
guys
felt-
feel? Like?
I liked it.
Kind of felt like VATS almost.
It reminded me back to like when 76 trailer like launched and the lady was in the field frolicking through the flowers shooting the gun.
Like firing guns, like that vibe. Yeah, and they do all
because
the
they're playing
slow-mo.
West Virginia back in that one.
Oh, here it is. Hits his jet and then
He's like,
Yeah, the guy hits jet, and then he gets tripped and he falls through the door, and the door, oh my gosh, that part was so disgusting. And Chet was the guy there, and he got all sprayed with blood. Oh,
boy.
it was bad. But like, yeah,
Chet's not
super
having a good
gory, super crazy, super wacky. The guy with the cake is going around beating up people and eating cake. They like capture a bunch of them, I guess.
That's the brother.
Yeah, well, they capture a bunch of them and they bring them to the door. And like
Yeah.
Lucy's trying to like help her brother hide, And yeah, it just a chaotic scene in general. Tons of death. What else do I have here? Dad saves Lucy.
Dude who
Oh,
came
she
back with his
saves.
gross face.
Yeah, she saves her brother, and then when she saves her brother, Monty shows back up, and her dad kills Monty. So that was pretty sweet.
I
'Cause
actually
it was like,
liked that he grabs him and dips him into the pickle jar and just like drowns him in the pickles.
yeah, no, like beats him with a
So
shovel and then drowns the guy with pickles. Like,
I
but
pointed something out to Mariah that most people would not think about. If you think about the amount of salt and vinegar in that barrel of
it's gonna
pickles,
burn.
it's
That would
going to burn
burn.
so damn bad while you're drowning
Well,
that it would just be so much worse as opposed to just being drowned in a thing of pickles.
it
And
would
there's
burn.
pickles in there too, so that's just horrible.
Well, at least he's got snacks.
Like,
But yeah, so the overseer is actually played by Kyle MacLachlan. I don't know if you guys have seen Twin Peaks. If you haven't seen Twin Peaks, go watch Twin Peaks. It's when he was younger, and he's fantastic, and he's been in some other stuff. But the overseer, great actor. Um, and then they decide they just doesn't like an alarm go off or something, and like the please stand by gets put up on the big screen.
Because they shot the thing and it stopped working.
They shot the projector.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why that pops up. But the bad guys have captured like a couple vault dwellers. They're holding guns on them. And this is what was really weird. It felt like the overseer knew the main bad person, right?
Yes. Now, go ahead.
Like, it felt
Go
like they
ahead,
had
BMR.
history.
Am I the only one who feels like this is a little too well organized for it to just simply be Raiders? Like,
I mean,
after
yes
this
and no.
conversation, it kind of seems like it's more than just Raiders.
Eh,
well, they knew where to find the weapons because
Yeah,
they
so
raided the
here's
armory.
So okay, so that's a good point, Nick. Maybe the bad guy that's leading all the raiders has vault knowledge, because it really seemed like, so maybe Vault 31, maybe she was part of Vault 31 or something. But
Well,
you think that the overseer would have recognized her, right? Like, or said something when they
well, she
first
knew what
met.
to say to like gain his confidence when they walked into the greeting for the wedding.
But hear me out. Just like in the events of Fallout 4, the Institute was able to do research on Vault 111 before attacking it, extracting, your child, and leaving you. I'm just
So
saying
you
it's
think,
possible that they've gotten information on these series of vaults, knew what they were after, or whatever they're wanting to do.
well, and the Enclave is still going around too, right? So information people are all around. But yeah, okay, so they meet, the Raiders are at the exit, and they're like, and she's basically like, do you choose these people or do you choose your daughter? Which I didn't understand, because he grabs his daughter, puts her to the side in like a room, closes the door, and then the overseer, the bad chick, says like, you look like your mother, which was like, okay, she knows her. Like, there's got to be some history here. Then they
well,
sleep
it
dart
brings
the
me.
overseer. They sleep dart the overseer. The bad guys grab them. They take off out of the vault. They leave a bomb in there, and then they close the door on them. So like, what were they choosing? I don't get what the, like, because then they leave the bomb, but the guys run away and survive.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense.
So like, was she thinking that they wouldn't run away and survive?
Maybe she underestimated the blast shield of the explosive.
Yeah, honestly, she was in a worse position than they were 'cause she was closer to the bomb.
Right? And she
Her
was like
daughter.
right in the window. And the bomb didn't seem to do anything. I guess it ruined the door, so the door couldn't be closed.
Was
So they
that the
connect
door back into Vault 32?
two. Yep.
Okay,
But yeah,
so
I don't know. Very interesting. So before we move on to the next part, let's any other thoughts on that whole first vault scene? What do you
Well,
guys think
like
of the whole
that.
vault in general and how it looked?
Before I lose it, that back like when she's like, "You remind me of your mother." That story almost reminds me back of like Fallout 3 with like your
Mm-hmm.
dad before you even get to the vault because you weren't born in the vault.
spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you
Yeah,
haven't
like
played
kind of that
Fallout 3 at
connection
this
of
point,
like,
Yeah.
somehow there's knowledge of outside, but it's being hidden.
Like her dad might know more than he leads on.
He definitely knows more. Like, honestly, he definitely knows more at this point. He's definitely got a connection to the outside world. He seems to have known who that was. The head chick that's
Well, she
the
makes
bad
it definitely clear that she knows her mother for sure.
yeah, like there's some relationship there. But and so that's where that part ends. Everything blows up. I think the vault looked fantastic. I think costumes looked fantastic. Music was on point. The scenes and everything.
The vault
The
room definitely
director was Jonathan Nolan, by the way.
I just
So
gotta say, Bethesda loves the whole trope of having a dead mom.
just mom's always dead.
a dead mom and a
It's
father.
not the
That's
first time there's been a character in a Fallout franchise that has a dead parent.
it's always the dead
Well,
mom and a father who's missing, or
do we know if the courier's mom's dead?
The courier, I'm pretty positive, doesn't have parents.
He
Just
just
spawn.
spawned in, yeah.
Pretty sure just that person's just creation of like hate and vengeance.
He's a synth.
Fix the wastelands, man. But okay, that was pretty sweet though. Like show pretty great so far. Now we're gonna move into the next section. They kind of take a complete like scene change, character change, and they move up. Like so, that's kind of how the show's done. It's almost done in like sections, right? Like we got that first scene where the bombs dropped, then we got the Lucy scene, and now we hit it with Maximus. And it's these like grunt soldiers are fighting, and some of them are just beating this guy's ass, and the guy's ass that they're beating is Maximus. So the basically somebody comes and breaks it up, and then it's his friend, and yeah, it seems kind of like Maximus is kind of the joke of the group, kind of like the lowest of the soldiers. They don't really care about him. He's not with the in crowd or whatever.
I'm not gonna lie, Maximus actually like legitimately creeps me out. Something about his character just unsettles me to my core. Like every time he's on screen, I'm just like,
He seems a little
He
like
probably has some trauma issues.
yeah,
I don't
right.
think
From
it's that.
when he was
I
a child.
personally feel like he has ulterior motives because I don't get the feeling that this man is wholeheartedly good.
Oh,
Every
see,
time
I'm
he
the other
pops
way.
up,
Well, he's
I'm
the
just
Brotherhood
like,
of Steel. I don't think
"Hmm."
the Brotherhood of Steel is wholeheartedly good.
They
Good.
used to. I mean, Fallout 3 Lions Pride Brotherhood of Steel was like they were for the people, helping Project Purity, returning clean water to the wasteland for those who live there. But like, I don't know. It's just every time they pan to him, I don't get good vibes from the dude.
Think he is good though. Honestly, I think the vibe that you're getting is that he's kind of looking at the Brotherhood of Steel, and he's like disenfranchised by it because he's getting his ass beat by the other soldiers. They're not knights, right? Then he's in the school, and they're just the teachers are assholes, the scribes are assholes, and
everyone's
like
jerks.
yeah, everyone's kind of an a-hole to him. So like for him, they keep having his flashback, and the flashback is like him as a little kid, and he sees a Brotherhood of Steel knight walk up. And it almost implies like he got like saved by the Brotherhood of Steel. And so he wants to be that. He wants to be a knight in shining armor for people. That's the vibe I get from Maximus. That's kind of what I like more than the other way. So they show like where they're at, right? He's getting his ass beat. Then they show like a bunch of barracks. They seem like they're out in the middle of nowhere. Gave me kind of boomer vibes.
They're definitely at some airfield for sure.
Like some airfield out in like the Salt Flats or something. But that's all the way over in Utah. So like I really want to see like a map of this show. They've got to be closer. It's all got to be like LA and then right outside of LA.
I think there's a lot of
in the
Air Force
desert.
deserts or Air Force bases in the desert.
Yeah, no, so that would probably be easiest. But yeah, so like they were doing their classes, and then a bunch of vertibirds show up, and then a freaking Pridwin shows up, like a giant blimp. I don't know if it is.
Confirmed, but that is the Pridwin.
No way.
It is the Pridwin from Fallout 4.
Hold on. So is this Maximus the same? No, because that's how they're
Do not get Maximus mixed up with Maxin.
Yeah, It's
Because
close. but it's right.
Maxin is the whole lineage of the Brotherhood of Steel from the first game, essentially all the way up to
You
4.
right. You right. I don't
Yeah,
know. The connection almost made that for me, and I was like, "Ooh!" I wonder if they'll spin that.
But
wonder if
wasn't the Proto one built after Fallout 3?
yes, but what this implies right here is that the Fallout 4 Brotherhood of Steel ending would be the canon ending to Fallout 4.
You think so? So
Yes.
this takes place after.
Actually,
just
I
like
have the
The show
timeline
is
pulled up.
dated 2296.
Okay.
That is.
You realize
Yeah.
the implications of that then, because there's
I'm
219 years.
aware. Are you aware, though?
Dude, that's crazy because that means not only did the Brotherhood of Steel win, then the Legion won in New Vegas,
Not necessarily.
or at least pushed NCR back enough that they're not super prevalent.
Once again, not necessarily.
We don't know.
Well, because think here,
could be.
I'll take your mind to somewhere else that I've been thinking about this since the show is so heavily implicated on Brotherhood of Steel. The Battle of Helios 1.
The Brotherhood one?
Brotherhood and NCR have already gone at it once before. If the Brotherhood of Steel were to win the events of Fallout 4, do you understand what that means for that West Coast chapter of how many more troops they'd be able to get and how much more communications and accessibility they'd have because of the giant airship? They'd be able to
So then
revitalize a whole
basically, they're
chapter.
going to war with the NCR. You think?
Yes. Because
So we might. That'd be crazy.
I feel like it's a possibility that the Brotherhood and Steel and the NCR went back at it after the events of, New Vegas and 4.
So you think the Brotherhood of Steel might have wiped out the NCR?
Which means you would have had to side with McNamara or whatever to make him join the NCR so they weren't wiped off, and then have him later down the line betray the NCR and have to fight him.
Or the NCR did something to betray the Brotherhood. But yes, you see where I'm getting at with this, because for them to sit there and confirm that this is the Prid one from Fallout 4, it means a lot of things would have had to happen from essentially Fallout 3 up until now.
Yeah, honestly.
That'd be pretty sick. Which means, would they insert Fallout 5 before the show or after the show?
Probably after.
I hope so. I hope they just keep going. But okay, so the Prid one pulls up and looks
It's
fantastic.
looking glorious.
Dude,
as
it
ever.
looks so freaking good. And the vertibirds all look really good.
Like, it
And-
reminds me of this time that you first see it in Fallout 4 and it flies
Yeah.
over and you're just like, wow.
And it's all like, do not panic, citizens of the Commonwealth.
I'd be panicking.
You're like, I'm panicking a little bit. But yeah, so Aaron Moten's the guy's name, by the way, and that's Maximus. And then the Prid one comes in, the vertibirds land, and this is the first time you get to see the power armor. And all these Brotherhood of Knights, like these Knights of the Brotherhood, are just freaking walking forward with smoke coming down, and they're just badasses in this power armor, and they're all just marching towards all the cadets. The power armor looks so good.
It looks so good. They're like,
I
oh,
want
it's only T60. I'm like, I don't even care what kind of power armor. I just want it.
Right. Well, the T60 is actually one of my favorites. I would say
Honestly,
it goes
yeah.
the T51 because it's just, I don't know, I love the classic. And it's almost got space vibes to that one. It's got that 50 styling.
Maybe after the
And
show
then-
ends, we could put in a bid for like a suit that they used.
Yeah, sure. You want to know how much those things probably go for?
I don't want to think about it, but I want to believe we'll be there.
Adam's the collector of Fallout, so he's got to do it. Adam, you got to get your hands on a power armor set.
Dude, I just gotta convince the guys at the freaking tattoo and piercing shop to sell it.
There you go. Yeah, go get that one. But
I don't care. I'll still want it.
so it's pretty sweet. Those guys pull up. They look fantastic. And then we see, this is kind of cool because we get to see kind of some of the outfits of like scribes and stuff for the Brotherhood. And they get in like a coded message that's like a face of somebody who's like wanted.
I like the way that they decode messages and it like reveals a photo.
Right? It's like fill in the bubble here, then the bubble here, then the bubble here. And it like forms a picture.
But it's all done in like lines, like it's printed from like old school paper.
Old tech. Like they're, yeah, very interesting. Cool way of keeping it like coded, I guess. but yeah, so that's cool. They call in that, and then like that was a quick scene too, because they flash immediately to back to Maximus and his friend, and they're like digging latrines basically.
They're moving the latrine cart to a new location.
Dude,
Yeah,
he's got the worst jobs.
they got
That's-
the shittiest jobs. And his friend's like, "Yo, let's go check out some power armor," and he's like, "Okay." So then him and his friend sneak off from doing latrine duty, and go and look at some power armor.
Which is
Um,
crazy that they just leave that like unguarded out in the open.
The power armor or the cart of shit?
The power armor. It's just like in a shed, but nobody's around to guard it. Somebody could just
Well, the
jack into
thingy,
the power
right?
armor.
No, it's fine. It's the power armor garage, and like no one's there working on anything, but whatever. So they go check out the power armor, and then they get interrupted. But isn't this also like he looks at the power armor, and this is where you actually get that cutback scene of him being rescued as a kid, and I think that's kind of our glimpse into who Maximus is, and how like why he's with the Brotherhood of Steel. So it seems like his parents died.
Oh god, they decided to go with the crappy Fallout 4 assault rifles.
Yeah, that was the
I'm
other thing.
sorry, that just bothers me every time I see it, and it's like, why?
I
Why
mean, they kind of
that?
fit
At
the
least in
Brotherhood
the
of Steel.
video, they look a little bit better.
They should have done a laser rifle. I would have been happier.
Honestly, yeah. It's like,
The laser out, it's like iconic too. Like why didn't they? I don't know. Maybe harder to get your hands on those or something.
only
But
the cool paladins get theirs.
I'm pretty sure he uses one later. Anyway, so yeah, then so they go look at that, and then they get interrupted by a scribe and like some other dudes, and they're like, "We need your friend," and like they take him away. So then they're playing. I thought this was funny. They were playing this scene with all the like cadets. They're like just chilling, and they're playing basketball, but with rocks.
Oh.
No, not just rocks. They're bricks, homie.
Now that I have paused on this scene, anybody want to take a gamble with this man in this front bed closest to us is
Oh,
doing?
goodness. We already know what he's doing.
So yeah, they had that scene basically where they cut into the bunker and like there's just a dude like jacking off under his blanket. Just like right
At
there.
least we put the reality of what it'd probably be like in the wasteland. Because I'm sorry, like you're on a
No one would
military
dare.
base for essentially your whole life. At some point, that's probably
it's
going to be
gonna happen.
reality.
Yeah.
No privacy.
No privacy.
You get used to it.
But then the friend comes back, and basically they find out that there's been specific cadets that are selected to be the squires for the knights. So they're like chosen to get anointed or whatever. So that's the other thing with the Brotherhood of Steel. I think they did a good job of like kind of making it like a religion, right? But like not like a very like if military religion,
It definitely feels like the Brotherhood of Steel that stands in Fallout 4. Yes.
like right, like they do a good job of keeping that Brotherhood vibe. Whereas like other shows won't do that. But I don't know. I just thought it was done very well. And it was cool how they like mentioned like scripture stuff and like the scribes are there and like the teaching and like and honestly Maximus is pissed. Like he doesn't like that his friend got chosen. He's kind of jealous.
Well, it's not really just that. It's like that's his only other friend,
Yeah, and if his friend leaves and he's just stuck here.
and everyone else is just mean to him as it is.
Yeah, so like pretty shitty. So he's not happy. Max is not happy. Which is kind of like why like he lets some of that stuff get to him, and I think that's where I get the vibe that you're talking about, Brad, where he like there's like an edge to him that like we're not aware of. But then so they go to sleep that night and they wake up the next morning and his friend who got chosen puts her foot in her boot and screams. And
This was definitely the first time that I really was uneasy with this dude right here, and I'm like,
somebody put a razor in her boot. And I don't think it's him, but we may find out it's him. But I don't think it's him. Honestly, they kind of painted the picture to be like it's him. But I don't think it is. So immediately he gets blamed and they put a bag over his head and they haul him off. And that's the whole first part of the Brotherhood of Steel, of Max, and of all that stuff. Fantastic visuals, fantastic effects, outfits are perfect. Good references to like the T60 armor of the game. Everything looks good. Did you guys notice any other like Easter eggs or anything? I mean, like you said, the assault rifle. The Prid one's obviously a huge one.
I think the good evening, good morning sign. Sorry, I know it's like literally just a frame ahead. I'm pretty sure that's reference to the Vault 76 signs. Like when you first leave the vault, I'm pretty sure there's a sign similar to that.
Yeah, they had I mean, we talked about the vault before. Like there was a ton of posters on the wall that were all pulled from the games as well. That they just pulled directly from the games. That were like Vault Boy works and like do this and like just stuff like that. But yeah, so that's the Brotherhood of Steel.
I kind of want one of those good morning, good evening signs.
Get it, Mr. Fallout Collector. But okay, so then we flash back to, like you guys are saying, we flash back
One more
to
thing.
Vault
Sorry.
33.
Do you know how tall that power armor stands at?
8 feet.
Nope, 7'8".
7'8". Okay, I was close.
Yeah. So those dudes, in comparison to the regular like squires, everybody else, probably have an additional 2.5 feet height wise on them.
Super intimidating, right?
Yeah. Like at first
Super
I was like,
badass.
oh, those don't seem that big, and then like I was once again watching an interview with Ella Purnell, and she straight out said they're 7'8", and I'm like, no way, that is like massive. Which means you're probably standing on some form of like stilts or something when you're inside of it.
At least like it has to be at least a foot, right? Like, because you have to be like up in it, and usually actors aren't that tall.
No,
So,
exactly.
pretty cool though. Pretty sweet. Though they probably had like the same guy doing all the action scenes in the power armor.
Yeah.
But anyway, before we get to the action scenes, we're back to Vault 33, and they're like cleaning.
Yes.
So they're like painting over all the blood on the walls. They're putting up posters. They're kind of like coping with the fact that they just had a bunch of people murdered. They take all the bodies to the freaking compost pile.
It made me wonder how often this happens.
Right? Like it seems weirdly normal. I don't know. The Vault people in Vault 33 are just kind of goofy, go lucky people, and so like having something traumatic to them happen to them, they're kind of like they still go, right? Like they still keep moving in what they're supposed to do. But then they all come together. I think because remember Lucy got stabbed. She ends up like stapling that closed, which I thought was pretty metal. She like just staples her scar closed, or a gash or whatever, like from being stabbed. And then they all come together, I guess, and then they talk. And Lucy wants to go find her dad. She's like, I think we should go find my dad. And everybody else
is like, nah.
Yeah, everybody else is like, nah. We're gonna stay here and we'll be fine. And
it's
then
like,
her
but
brother
that's our
says,
overseer. They're like, and we'll get a new one.
right? Pretty much, they're just like they've given up on him. So it's kind of lame because like that's not who the vault people are supposed to be in this vault too. But so they deny her, and she like sits back down, and her brother says to her that they don't want to fight. They don't want to find Dad because then they'd lose their power, which I thought was like super interesting. Of like basically the council's like realize they can take over is what he's implying. I just figured everybody was scared.
I didn't really get that from them.
I didn't think it was like a power trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is
I think he's just a little bitter.
vault, and I can't remember if it's New Vegas or Fallout 3 that has this really nice like split overseer thing where there's two people running for overseer at the same time, and I started getting vibes of that during this, and I'm like, oh, are we gonna have
the
a
vault
that
took
destroys
elections?
itself? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
That would make sense though. Like that would kind of like that would be kind of cool if they do like some elections and then the vault just disintegrates further, and then they like vie into factions. That'd be kind of cool. See one of the vault
it makes
experiments go
sense
wrong.
because if we think about it again, back when she was doing all those tests in front of the board, I guess you'd be auditioning for Overseer.
Yeah, no, you'd be like, are they worth having as overseer? But so what's really interesting is she's discouraged, right? But then she sees a Vault Boy poster that says, "Don't lose your head," and it like inspires her. So she goes and starts picking up a bunch of stuff and getting a bunch of equipment together, and her brother's like distracting people because he knows that she's like about to leave. Um and so like she's basically like, screw it, I'm gonna go find my dad by myself. And so her brother helps her, and then like I guess does Chet help her?
Yeah, Chet opens the door.
Because
Mhm.
Chet's in love with her. Um but yeah, so Lucy, her brother, and Chet, they sneak to the vault exit. Um, and then while they're at the vault exit, Chet's like, you know what? I can't do this. I can't let you go. I have to go with you. And she's like, I knew you'd say that. So sorry, but you're going to sleep. And she darts him and puts him to sleep because she knew he'd go with. And so he just falls down right there. They don't seem too concerned about the radiation that's going to come in when they open the door, though.
They're standing pretty far back. They'll be fine.
But like Chet's not. He just got fainted next to the door.
Well, Chet was a little dumb anyway. He can lose
Chet
the brain
was a
cells.
little dumb anyway. So they have to take an elevator up to the door too. It's kind of cool because they look down and they see how far and deep like the vault goes. That's kind of interesting. But then the elevator leaves, like it's going back down. So it kind of seems like someone's coming to stop her, right? So she's having her moment. She's putting Chet to sleep. She's talking to her brother, and then she gets the vault door to open. And man, did it not feel so good to watch that door open?
Hmm. Get the bright light, bright flash.
Right? Like you don't know what's out there. It's blinding light. Like you're coming out of a vault. It's the classic like it pops off and like rolls to the side. Um, but she has like a moment with her brother, and like he's like, "Go save dad" or whatever. Like I'll hold down the fort. I'm too much of a coward. You have fun. um, and yeah, so then the door opens, and the guys come up to stop her, and they run out, and they're like, "No, don't go! Like, you're gonna die out there, Lucy." And she basically says, like, "Screw you guys," and then like leaves through the door. What do you guys think? I thought this whole scene was done pretty well. I liked the tension they built. I liked that she was kind of sneaking behind their backs. I like that the vault poster like inspired her.
I think it was very similar to the games that they obviously pulled a lot of inspiration from, of like the vault door opening and just like how leaving would feel like trepidation. But
You mentioned number 3, and you kind of get kicked out of that vault too. Like you kind of like
you kind of
have
have
to
to
run out
escape.
of there
Hmm.
and get kind of chased. So it's like very similar vibes to 3, I think. Um, but yeah,
But she
kind of
wasn't really
cool.
being chased out of there.
Well, they wanted her to stay, right? So like that was the main difference. But it's kind of the same kind of like people were there. It was kind of a thing. But she dips and the door closes. And then like what were some of the first things that she saw out there? Because I think there was a
She
couple.
sees like skeletons and and then she
Oh, there
sees.
was the ash people, like the people that were just like mounds of ash.
So I was
Or like,
actually talking with my grandma, and if you're close enough, you're either going to be reduced to incineration, or you're far enough away where you're just bones afterwards.
Where they just like melt all your skin and parts off.
but those are obviously people that couldn't get
Got
into
petrified.
that we're trying to get into before the bombs dropped.
Right. So like it's kind of a stark change of world for her, right? Like she comes out here and the first thing she sees is a bunch of like mutilated melted bodies like that were trying to get in that couldn't get in. Um and she kind of starts walking out and she sees that she's on Santa Monica. She's in Santa Monica. And like she sees the pier and she sees the beach and everything's kind of settling in on her, right? Like she's kind of like taking
So it
everything in
just
and
so the
This
cinema
realizing
place sucks.
this place sucks. In
well,
fact, I
like
kind of like this. I think this is a Fallout like 1 or 2 reference. When you die, there's a camera angle where it shows like you're dead or whatever at the end, and on the bottom there's like the skeleton and like the skull, And like when she first walks out, they have an angle where in the bottom right, just like in the ending screen of you dying, it's got that skull and stuff. So I think that was an Easter egg for Fallout 1 or 2. But that just could be me and just them placing it like
Your bones bleach in the heat of the
Well, in
Yeah.
the first Fallout, there's the Los Angeles Vault,
Yeah,
That's
I
a-
mean it takes
that's
place in
like
California, right? So
which is built under Los Angeles.
but it's not the same vault, is it? Is
No,
it?
because this one's in Santa Monica in the Santa Monica Mall.
I mean, you saw how big LA was. There was probably a ton of vaults
I thought
in that
31
area.
was the vault from the first one.
No, I think I can look it up.
Yeah, look up the vault from the first, like 1 and 2, because 2 actually ends up being outside of the vault. But yeah, that was pretty cool. And then I loved her like tone of like she sees all this crap is just wrecked, right? And she just goes, "Okie dokie," and walks off. She's like very just like happy-go-lucky, optimistic, like only good things can happen kind of deal in this Fallout world. And the contrast is just it's just that perfect feel, you know?
Yeah, like everything out here so like miserable, and she's just out here like having a good old time.
Okie dokie. It's an adventure. See what happens.
I live in a vault where it's nice, unlike you peasants.
You peasants. But okay, and then it fades to black and it ends with that scene. And then we go back to Max. And Max had like the bag over his head and they rip it off and he's like in the cockpit of a plane almost, like or like the
Yeah.
body of a plane. And he's getting interrogated by a scribe. And there's a dude with power armor just like standing behind him.
Hovering
I
behind
don't
him.
think that's a scribe, my dude. I'm pretty positive that is the Elder.
So the elder.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
You're right. You're right.
That makes sense.
So the elder's sitting there and like interrogating him and being like, "Why did you decide to be a Brotherhood of Steel?" Asked him if he's the one that hurt his friend. Says like,
They all said it was you.
yeah, everybody blamed you. So what do you say to that? And like the power armor guy's like, answer the question, and like being all intimidating and stuff. And Max kind of like almost breaks down a little bit here. Is like a little intimidated, a little scared.
I mean, I would
And
be scared.
then
He's like, "No, homie, I'd devote my life to the Brotherhood. I'm willing to lay down and die for him, because then
Yeah.
I'd be grateful that I died for something." And then he's like, "You know what? We like this guy. Let's sign him up."
Well, and that's what the elder said, right? The elder's like, dude, violence is a tool. It needs to be used right. That's like, thanks the scribes for guiding us and like for his home. So it's kind of an interesting vibe of like the elder's the guy. Like whatever he says, you're screwed, which is probably why Max is just terrified.
I will
Right.
say at the very end of their conversation, when the Elder calls him good boy, it did make me very uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, because that's what he's trying to get out of him. He's like, "Who are you? What are you gonna do?" And that's when like Max finally breaks down and he's like, "Listen,
Oh,
dude,
no, I mean just having an old man call this young,
call you good boy."
yeah, like
A
that
little
was just
awkward.
weird, like a very weird choice in my opinion.
It
Like,
works because the elder's like the father of all these guys, of all the knights and stuff, right? Like it's very patriarchal in its design. So what's interesting is Max says that he did want it to happen. He wanted his friend to get injured so they wouldn't go. But then he says like, "Yo, I'm thankful for everything you've done for me. You guys rescued me, basically. I'm thank you for my home." And he's like, "I don't care what you decide. I will give my life to the Brotherhood of Steel, even if it means that you're going to kill me. I don't give a crap. I am devoted to the cause." So that kind of contrasts the whole like, is he suspicious? Does he have ulterior motives? Because then, like you said, the elder walks over and like pats him on the cheek and says, "Good boy." And then they tell him basically that he's going to get his friend's spot as the squire to Knight Titus, one of the Brotherhood of Steel Knights. So like he gets to be the dude. Is Knight Titus the one standing behind him in the interrogation?
They
Like, is
really
that
don't
him?
say, but I could only assume so.
You think so?
They all look the same to me.
They all look the same to me. They're all just Brotherhood of Steel. Just knights. But yeah, there's no like definitive like change of like the knights. There's no like what is that called? Like a crest or anything that would show who you are. But yeah, so like they basically leave. The knight and the elder leave, and Max just cries because Max is just like probably shit his pants, was terrified he was about to be executed. Gets like complete 180 to like, oh no, you get to go now, right? Which is what he wanted. Just kind of a crazy turn of events for him. And I think the actor does a good job of swinging through all those emotions. But yeah, then he goes back to his friend, and his friend believes that he didn't do it. Like his friend's the only person that believes him. And then he gets branded for Knight Titus. He gets like a T on his back, and he kind of goes through the ceremony and everything. What do you guys think of the ceremony? I kind of thought it was cool. Like the squire gets branded and then like has to follow the knight around. It almost felt more medieval styled than the games, you know?
I mean, it's kind of brutal, but I think that's what they're going for.
I mean, this world's brutal though, right? Like he's already getting his ass beat. He's already like somebody put a blade like the Brotherhood of Steel is still not a safe place to be, even if you're part of it, is what it seems like, right?
And they kind of branded him as the knight's property. I don't know.
Yeah. Right? Like you're his. Like you gotta figure this crap out. Like you're his squire.
I think
So
it's Brotherhood of Steel. I don't know. They just don't seem like
you wouldn't want
they
to
have like
join?
good intentions, but they're just not. They don't feel like good people.
Well, see, that's their whole thing is they just want to take technology, and that's kind of the vying factions in the Brotherhood of Steel. They want to take technology and take it
Hoard it
away
from
from people
themselves.
and hoard it for themselves because no one's responsible to use it. So like that's kind of the whole thing with them. Uh it's kind of cool. I don't know. I like the branding him into the Brotherhood of Steel and being like, now you're the guy and like you're gonna serve me. And immediately they're like charged with a mission. And it's that from earlier where they printed out that wanted poster for that one guy. Apparently, he's escaped from the Enclave, which I thought was super interesting. And the Knights are gonna go find him because he has tech and information that they want, of course. So I think they just did a good job. They're like, he's part of the Enclave. You're gonna go get him, and you're gonna bring him back, and yeah, and then they all line up. They get on the vertibirds, and then the squire's backpacks,
They're just like big old freaking barrels that with like a little handle, and it's like, all right, here you go, pack my crap around.
right? Like these guys are just like so small, and like you think the knight would carry it because he's already got like assisted armor, but
Then I
like
just keep seeing memes where it's like, man, do I feel bad for my followers now because this is what it's like?
looking at that freaking backpack. That backpack's massive. It's like bigger than Max, and he's just like huffing it along.
It's big
But
enough for the Brotherhood member to carry, but not big enough for freaking Max to carry.
no, Max is like tiny for it. But yeah, so they're going after a dude with glasses for the Enclave.
Who obviously looks like Albert Einstein.
Oh, and they show the dog too. Isn't so there's two wanted posters. There's one for Albert Einstein without
And
the hair,
then,
I guess.
and then
And then
Companion.
and then dog meat. There's like a dog.
It just says
Which
Companion.
I don't think it's dog meat, but like of course they had to have a German Shepherd to make it like it might be dog meat.
Well, if you look at the scientist, he not to knock on be racist or anything, but he looks like a German scientist from like back in World War II, and it's
Well,
like,
that's just the
He
Enclave vibes,
absolutely
dude.
does. Yeah.
Like experimental science, like they definitely copied that.
and that's like to me what Enclave remind me of, which is weird because Enclave are like Americans, but they feel almost more German Nazi scientist kind of thing going on, and it's like whoa.
Yeah. Hold on. Wait a second. But the vertibirds look so cool. They had to have at least built like what, one of these things, two of these things? Because like they're real. They have the guys get inside them for the filming. And like,
You look at them though; they're just giant hunks of metal.
oh, 100%. It's like how did the power that those rotors have to be able to make that thing fly.
Plus, you got a giant metal man.
Yeah, like how much they weigh, and then like they've got
He's got the
guns
most
strapped
comfiest
onto 'em.
chair in the world.
Oh yeah, but Max is pumped. Max finally gets his dream.
So
So
he
then
thinks.
we switch to a completely new scene, and it seems like a completely new location. Maybe
Almost
like
feels Mexico?
Mexico?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely feels like Mexico.
Think
May
so.
Arizona.
Yeah. So maybe, yeah, but like there's like a fort and there's some like bandito dude and he gets killed with a junk launcher.
The junk jet.
He gets killed by the junk jet and the freaking like he gets killed by like a baby leg to a doll, like a doll's baby leg. Like what the
Beautiful.
crap?
Beautiful.
It just kills him. So that was cool to bring that weapon into it. And then there's this like group of like other bandits or whatever.
Well, that weapon to me is like one of my favorite weapons because I
The
was
junk
explaining
jet.
to my grandmother. She's like, Was that a baby leg?" I'm like, "Grandma, this thing you launch, you get plates, toy cars, whatever you can cram in this thing. It's the best
Oh,
weapon in the
dude,
game."
that reminds me. Years ago, I was playing
Oh, I know.
Fallout
That's why
3,
I always bring it up.
and I don't know. I just randomly decided to fire a shot inside a Super Duper Mart, and I got a cinematic kill of me launching a toy car into a raider's kneecap, and it completely obliterating his leg.
Just exploding.
And I'm just like, well, I mean, with the force that this thing's flying out of here at, yeah, kind of makes sense.
Right, just blew his knees out with a toy car. But yeah, it's just ridiculousness, just Fallout vibes, right? So back to the banditos. The bandits walk in. They've killed that guy with the junk jet, and they dig up a grave, and you can see there's like an IV on the grave, which is kind of cool.
Oh, like a glowing ivy.
Like somebody's been buried alive, and like they're keeping them alive, and so then they like they're all kind of talking like who's in there. This guy's supposed to be super crazy. Like they all seem kind of nervous, and then they pop it open, and it's a ghoul.
And they're like, "Well, how do you know this guy's like my dad worked with him once?" It's like,
Yeah, so like you're like, hold on,
that's the lead we're
how old?
that's the lead we're going off of.
Yeah, like so they dig him up, and he comes out, and it's the ghoul, and it's basically it's what's his face, Walter Goggins.
Cowboy.
It's
The
the
cowboy actor.
cowboy from the very beginning of the show, before the bombs dropped. And so I thought this was really cool. What do you think about the clicking noises? Because like he's like stretching and stuff, and like
How
made a
long
bunch
was
of.
he in there?
He had to
That's
be
what
in
I
there
want to
quite
know.
some time, right? Well,
I'd say at least 10 years.
at least 10 years. Well, and that's what they say to him. They're like, "Hey, we need you to help us with a bounty, or you can stay in there and get
Burn it.
tortured by some random dude every, I don't know, whenever he
Del,
feels like it."
Yeah,
Del
he said he took him out and
Corleone.
like would cut off parts and then put it back in.
Yeah, so like basically he's been being tortured and like kept alive in the box. And that only works because he's a ghoul and he hasn't gone feral. So they like think he's gonna be feral. Oh, that was the other part. Because they thought he was gonna be feral, they brought a chicken. And like they were like, "Why did you bring the chicken?" And they're like, "A feral ghoul can't abide a chicken."
I thought that was hilarious.
Like, what are you
It
talking
reminds
about?
me of Skyrim. It's like, what's with the chicken? It's like, you don't touch the chicken.
You don't touch it. Well, it's just weird because it's like a known thing around those parts that a feral ghoul can't abide a chicken. Like, does it eat it? Is it scared of it? Like, what's the why? What?
I thought he would
But
just go after it and eat it.
well, he does pick it up. That's the thing.
Ugh.
He like does pick it up and he starts like stroking it and stuff. So they're all like freaking out. But then like he's got doesn't he look like Red Skull too? From Captain America?
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
he's
he
got
just his skin's burned off. I think.
when his nose is gone.
I don't
That's
know
right.
if we'll be able to see it in this lighting, but if you look at his outfit, he is wearing that same cowboy outfit from the day that those bombs dropped.
Is he?
Under
Yeah,
his
he's just
duster.
wearing a duster over the top of it. But if
Oh,
you
okay.
really pay attention, try to look, you can see that it's the same jean shirt with
Do you
all
think
that
it like
stuff on.
melted onto his? Well, because it doesn't do that for the other ghouls. All the other feral ghouls didn't like have their clothes melted onto them. So like,
Makes me wonder if he just likes that one outfit so much.
well, it probably is his whole
Well,
identity
if you
now.
think about it, the Vault Tech rep wore that same freaking outfit since he
See,
left.
And I was thinking maybe the Ghoul is an homage to the Vault-Tec rep, because I don't know a lot of his lore, but like, if in any way he did represent Vault-Tec at one point, that makes him the Vault-Tec representative, but as a main character.
You think the Ghoul's the no? I think he's like a bounty hunter. I don't know if he's like.
I don't know. I
I
feel
think
like
he worked
Bethesda
for
might have taken the
Vault-Tec.
Vault-Tec rep thing and like ran with it for a minute.
I don't think he cares so much about Vault-Tec anymore. Like, I think he's kind of like doesn't have an
Well, I mean,
allegiance to
after 200
anybody.
years, like, yeah, I would start to hate a company that I once worked for too, yeah.
Having worked for them that long. But yeah, we don't know. He might have worked for Vault-Tec. He might not have. We know he was a movie star. We know he had those colors. He had that vibe.
He
He
was
was like
in the
that good
army.
old boy. But yeah, so they offer him a deal and they say like, help us or get back in the hole. And he's like, that's interesting. And then he proceeds to kill all of them. He like pulls a gun, shoots the one, dodges the other, grabs that one, lets him get shot, like shotgun. Great action scene. And you can tell he's just a badass, right? So super cool. And then it ends with him killing those guys. And then it pops up on the screen and it goes, the Ghoul. So he doesn't even have a name. He's just called the Ghoul, which is kind of cool. And dude, he blows off that one guy's head. And I don't know, like graphics are insane these days, man. Like what they can do with like gore and stuff. Very impressive. Very impressive. Then he does
Tarantino-esque.
yeah, so basically he's like, I'm gonna go get the bounty. Screw you guys, kills them all, and leaves. And leaves the chicken completely untouched. So he's not feral. And that's how the first episode ends. They have this cool outro, and they start playing Crawl Out Through the Fallout, baby, which I thought was perfect. And the outro has a bunch of cool scenes. They like basically did like some art, and they just showed like locations. So they showed like the vault in a picture location. They showed like Santa Monica Pier. They showed like the Brotherhood of Steel stuff. And that's how the episode ends. And wow, what did you guys think of that episode? That was first episode, Fallout show. Let's go around. We'll start with Nick. Basically, tell me what you guys thought about it, and then we'll do like you can give me a rating.
I'm gonna lead off with my rating. I'm gonna give it an 8. I thought it was really good. As somebody who isn't as familiar with all the Fallout lore as you guys, I think it does a really good job of introducing people to the universe. I think the vault section was really well done. Kind of just the action sequences and the visuals and setting. It was really good. I think honestly the Brotherhood of Steel was a little weaker. I think didn't carry as much. I know they're just kind of setting it up and giving the character, but I don't know. He just gave some weird vibes, and
So
yeah.
were you
And then,
more intrigued? You just kind of more intrigued by the vault then?
I would just say the vault was more interesting. The Brotherhood of Steel was just like he's in a boot camp, and then he gets in trouble, and we know that he's kind of on the bottom of the food chain. And that's kind of all it gives you. It just
I
wasn't
mean,
as
the
interesting.
Pridwin though. The Pridwin though.
The Prid one, okay, the Prid one was good, but that was it's 15 seconds of airtime.
True.
And then the Ghoul is cool. Like
Yeah.
the Ghoul fight was dope, and I guess the beginning of the show too when he was in there, just setting the tone. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give it an 8. I thought it was pretty good.
All right, Banana. What'd you think? What was your rating, and what do you think about that show? First episode.
First episode to me, I'm not gonna lie, biggest Fallout fan. I know outside of myself, and this probably a few others, but I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. Why? Because I
10
freaking
out
love.
of 10.
Because I freaking love Fallout and everything about Fallout, the goofiness of Fallout, the seriousness moments of Fallout, the also heart touched felt moments of Fallout, and then everything looked good. I really had no complaints about anything like looking too crappy, and it's like, yeah, really no complaints. Thought everything looked cool. I liked the way they did all the vaults. The vaults definitely in themselves felt different, which I'm glad because I like when vaults are really unique.
Pretty good first episode then. 10 out of 10, episode 1. I mean, dude, you talked to your grandma into watching it, and then she was like wanting to watch more episodes.
So I actually talked to a lot of people who never really even played the game,
Mhm.
and what a lot of people liked was they really liked the classical music. A lot of them made it
The
think back
vibe.
to like their like when they were like with their mom and stuff
Dude,
in the kitchen.
that's what gets you on the Fallout, right? Like we've been playing every time we stream Fallout, it kind of sucks because we can't play the music
Unless we just say screw it and take the L, run it, have it get DMCA'd.
every single stream.
Well,
I don't
there's a
know.
YouTuber that Banana and I both watch called It's Jabo, and he's finally done a Fallout New Vegas and a Fallout 3 run being
Uh-huh.
DMCA'd because he doesn't care. That's what makes the game is the music.
I agree. That just means we're all gonna have to play through it again this time with music.
I mean,
Dang it.
hey, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing? I'm better.
Too.
I'm ready to play again. And we're back. But okay, 10 out of 10 for Banana, 8 out of 10 for Snicker. All right, Dab Ninja. Another big Fallout fan. What did you think? Episode 1, Amazon Prime series. What did you think?
9 out of 10, and it's
9.
literally for the most minor thing ever. I am mad that they are using the replica of the Fallout 4 and the 76 ghouls. I didn't want to see sentient beef jerky, damn it. I want something grotesque and gnarly to, be the ghouls from, the original Fallouts to Fallout 3, where...
Dude, Fallout 3 ghouls were actually, even the ones that are alive were kind of like, oh my god.
Seeing the ones from the first 2 Fallout games are much more, gross and sinister. So I was kind of hoping to see basically, a zombie, quote,
I want to see
or a
a
ghoul.
Herald. I want to see a Herald.
Granted, that's fine. I'll give it a pass on that. It is a very solid show. I like the soundtrack they picked for it. It's fantastic. Granted, I have a feeling that maybe later on in the series I will get to see some of the old school ghouls. I do know that, damn it, it's
Feral.
not Fallout if I don't get to see a Deathclaw. If I don't get to see a Deathclaw, I'm gonna be mad.
Yeah, no, they definitely need to drop a Death Claw. They definitely need to, have some Brahmin. They need to have some Scorpions, maybe. They could have some of those weird centaur things, super mutants,
Something tells me they probably won't
robots.
go with the centaurs, because those got killed out in Fallout 3. We have not seen them since, basically.
Well, there's
Except
got to
for
be
a
like some
few.
crazy creature, though. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be something really weird. But definitely super mutants. They please pull in some super mutants or
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
And more ghouls. Just like a scene of ferals chasing somebody at some point would be fantastic. That's all I want. But okay, 9 out of 10. We've got 8 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. And my score, I'm gonna this is tough, man, because I think I want to give it a 10 out of 10, but I'm trying to think about it critically.
We'll rate it at the end to see how we changed
Well,
our
so
minds.
we gotta average our score, right? So like Nick, why'd you choose 8 out of 10? Like you said like all the good things, but what held it back for you?
Was the Brotherhood of Steel.
Really? Like you just didn't like him that much?
I just think it was
Too tropey for you or what?
no, it was necessary to set the tone, but it wasn't exciting outside of the airship and uh outside of the power armor guys walking through.
So it was a
Because
little
Nick,
bit of the slower part.
Yeah, it was
Snicker
just
doesn't like looking
explain.
at dirt. He don't like the desert.
There's a bunch of army kids just kind of getting into fights and
Yeah, so it was
bickering.
just tropey. It was just okay.
Yeah.
You know what? Honestly, you're not wrong there. I think they do a lot of intrigue with the vault because like the vault raises a ton of questions.
Mhm.
Like you meet the characters and like you see how the vault works, and then they immediately turn that all on its head. You don't know who the overseer is. You don't know the connection to the outside world. You don't know why they came and attacked him. They didn't take anything except for the overseer. So why is it important? Right? It's intriguing. It pulls up a bunch of questions. It introduces a bunch of characters and kind of sets the quest going.
Well, I
Right?
guess I'm on to find my dad.
Guess I'm going to find my dad. You know the classic Fallout quest.
Do you
Gotta
think,
go find my dad. I gotta go find my
do you
dad.
think
I
they're
gotta
going
go.
to play on the classic trope from the first 2 Fallouts and Fallout 3 of needing to find the Gek or something similar to the Garden of Eden creation kit?
I guess this one works a little bit better for like a show too, because you can play more into the emotions of this. and I think that'll be better for a show than like finding a Gek.
But this, well, I guess I'll leave it. But like, what I know from the second episode, yeah, there's more to be talked about that
What?
subject.
I haven't watched
so.
the second episode. What are you guys talking about?
We didn't watch ahead at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, because my thing is with like what I've gathered from the lore of what the Gek is and what the Gek does is it restores essentially like power and vegetation. It basically like reestablishes everything
It's a fix
in
it
that
button.
area. So I'm kind of curious to see if maybe they're going to try to find something that they can use to make the wasteland less wastelandish, you know?
Well, it's funny that you even say that because in the first Fallout, there is one vault that has successfully brought their
They
Gek
launched
out
their Gek.
and used their Gek, and it's like, so what? Did only one vault ever get a Gek, and everyone else was just SOL?
No, multiple vaults got multiple Geks because you find one Fallout 3, you have to find one Fallout 2. Like,
Some of them were planned to like their water chip was like planned to break, so that they'd have to go find. Yeah, there's tons of stuff like that. But okay, back to my rating. I really liked this episode. I thought this was fantastic. It pulled me in with the first scene where the bombs dropped, and this construction of this episode was done very well. Right, you started out with the bombs dropping. You had a vault scene. Then you moved to the Brotherhood of Steel, and then like the pacing was very good. Then from the Brotherhood back to the vault, back to the Brotherhood, then back to this was kind of interesting, back to the Ghoul from the beginning, right? So it was very well structured episode. Music was perfect, visuals were perfect, costumes were perfect, acting was amazing. I thought everybody did a good job. There was nobody that I wanted to like
I
complain
liked
about at
that
all.
they left the Ghoul till the end because in the very beginning you're like, oh, what happened to him? And then it's like you're sitting there just like watching
Then you
this
find
thing,
out.
and you're just like, oh my goodness,
Oh my.
oh my.
But I heard it. So I actually like read an article about this for Walter Goggins on that, and he basically said like it was a pain to talk because he had to have like no teeth, so he had to like wear something that like covered his teeth kind of, and then he had to wear like some cotton lozenges. Like they put a bunch of crap in his mouth, and then he's also wearing this like ghoul suit that like makes it so he doesn't have a nose, right? And then he had to like talk and have a southern accent, and he said it was like super tough and like wasn't easy to just be his normal character.
My
Uh,
grandmother's like, that's actually what it looks like without your nose there. I'm like, yes, grandma, I know it's terrifying.
it's just terrifying. But yeah, so it's pretty cool though. I think they did a great job on his effects, and I like Walter Goggins, so he's probably my favorite character right now.
Doesn't Walter Goggins naturally have a southern accent?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
he does. He's in the Hateful Eight. He's fantastic in Hateful Eight.
I think that's actually what
been acting
differentiates a
since
lot of
like
humans from aliens.
1990.
Who's from 1990?
No, Walter Goggins has been acting since like the 90s, my dude. He's been in a
He's been around
lot
for a
of
while.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. He's always that like side southern like cowboy that's kind of like antagonistic.
You know,
So
the only thing I remember him from is I think it was the Predator movie.
yep, he's in Predator.
He was like a serial killer or something.
Yeah,
It was
that
great
sounds
in that.
about right.
Yeah.
But I like him, and then I actually really like Lucy, the main character from the Vault. I think she's doing a fantastic job of being like happy-go-lucky, but like I don't know, resourceful still. So, with all that being said, I'm gonna give my rating of. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna go 9 out of 10. I'm gonna go 9 out of 10, and I think Nick's right. I think my fanboy of the Brotherhood of Steel blinded me to the fact that that was probably the slowest part of the episode of when you're like finding out like he's gonna become the Squire. Because the coolest part of that is the armor, the Pridwin, like the quick visuals. But Max kind of took me a second to pull myself into him, and I think I was with Ella, like Lucy. I think I was with her character right away, and same with Walter Goggins. Like I was just like the ghoul's cool, but it took me a minute to like Max. So okay, that means Snickerer went with 8 out of 10, Banana went 10 out of 10, Dab Ninja went 9 out of 10, and I went 9 out of 10, which means our overall score is going to be a 9 out of 10 for episode 1. 9 out of 10. So highly recommend, guys. This episode was fantastic. We're going to try and do every single episode. It might take us a while. I think we talked for like almost 2 hours. The episode was only an hour, and we talked for about almost 2 hours about this. So I feel like we glossed things. Like, I don't even feel like we were able to break down as much as we want. But talk with us in the comments below. Tell us what your favorite Fallout game is. Talk about Fallout. Talk about the show. We're loving it so far. We'll definitely be watching this whole thing.
Join our
And-
Discord. We have a Fallout chat. You can talk in there too.
Exactly. I've been posting all the stuff I find about the show in there, and like, it's a good time to be a Fallout fan, you know? Good time. But okay.
You just
Well,
need more money, Dutch.
thank you for coming.
Plan.
We always have a plan. Hey, war never changes.
They have to say it. They have to say the
They'll
thing.
say it
but
once.
it's not
But men do
true.
through the roads they walk.
Oh my gosh. I got spurs that jingled. And we're claimed for monetization. But thanks for coming, guys. Like, subscribe, ding the bell.
Join
Become
the Knights of
community.
Rent.
Join the Knights of Rent. Become a vault dweller.
Believe it.
Believe it.
Bruh.